This is a human being shrunk by scientists more than 2,000 times. Because the world's population is predicted to skyrocket in the future, if humans are just 10 centimeters, they will eat less and live less. $10,000 can be considered as $1 million. Instantly they can become rich. Paul and his wife are in middle age, and have decided to do reduction surgery. This surgery requires people to remove body hair without skipping anywhere. Finished preparations, Paul and the others were forced to have their teeth pulled out because they couldn't get the teeth smaller. Then they were pushed into the miniature device. Everything is ready. The mini program has started. Just wake up. Paul can get out of poverty, enjoy the life of the rich. Ting. The surgery succeeded. The nurses came to push the cart in, using a small shovel to shovel the tiny 10 centimeters people on the cart. And then they are sent to the exchange room of the two worlds, where there are atrophied doctors. The doctor has refitted Paul's teeth. The operation is complete. Paul woke up, but the cookies the nurse brought him were so big that they shocked him. It turned out to be a normal-sized cookie, which was more than enough for him. Then he remembered that his wife still hadn't come out yet. Not long after, his wife called him. Actually, she regretted it after she cut her hair. The wife feels she still can't leave her parents and friends. Now that she's back at the airport, she wants to go home. Paul got angry after hearing that. He just wanted to give his wife a better life, so he decided to shrink. How did she regret it? Two people got into an argument, and the wife hung up the phone. But life goes on. The instructor then guided Paul into a miniature world. The country of the elves is in a large transparent cover. The outer film blocks most of the UV rays. Life-threatening birds and mosquitoes are barricaded outside. Life here is comfortable and harmonious, because all plastic surgery has real names. No crime. This place becomes a paradise. The guide took Paul to his mansion. The mansion was like a palace, something that Paul hadn't thought of before. Looking at the double pajamas they had prepared in advance, Paul is more heartbroken. At this time, the doorbell rang. On the courier truck. These are two wedding rings of Paul and his wife. He wanted to do body reduction surgery with his wife, but because of his wife's remorse, Paul was shrunk alone, and received divorce notice. After all, a 10 centimeters tall person, and a 160 centimeters person can't live together. Because the property was split in two, Paul's dream of being rich immediately disappeared. He had to move into a small apartment from the villa. He then got a job as an operator. Paul spent a lot of money that day. He bought a normal-size flower, because he has affections with a single mom. But the other woman doesn't like him. Feeling angry, Paul doesn't care about her anymore. He then joined Dusan's neighbor's party. Thinking of recent bad luck, Paul is drunk and depressed. The next day, the neighbors saw that Paul looked like being lost. The neighbor told him that business opportunities are everywhere. For example, a cigar in the normal world can make up to 2,000 bottles in the mini world. Good wine can make more money. Paul suddenly understood that this paradise also has smugglers. The cleaner Gok Lantran limped, attracting his attention. Before the surgery, Paul was a physical therapist. He offered to help Gok Lan with treatment, making her less painful, but the other side doesn't want to do it. Instead, she asked Paul to go see her seriously ill friend. The two of them sat on the bus all the way, got on and off the bus 3 times. Finally they reached the border of Lilliputian country. Ahead is a huge tunnel, and inside there are protective shields. It looks like even in the miniature world, they still need help. After arriving in the room, they saw the woman on the hospital bed was very sick. Paul can only give her some temporary pain reliever. When installing a prosthetic, Lance said that she participated in the march against being forced to shrink and put in prison. Then she escaped, but also lost a leg. Listening to this, Paul remembers his previous life used to be very admiring. He accidentally broke his prosthetic leg, so Paul was forced to work as Lan's assistant. He doesn't just have to do the cleaning for Lan, he also has to go to different restaurants to pack leftovers, brought them back to the slums, and gave it to the old people who live here alone. A few days later, Dusan wanted to help Paul escape, and actively invited everyone to go on a trip. A group of people boarded a large boat, and behind them there was pirated wine and Dusan's sausages. They have seen the trips, and the doctor invented the miniaturization technique. But now he is very sad. More than 10 years ago, scientists estimated that in the future there would be a lot of people, and a lack of resources, so the doctor had invented the miniaturization technique. But more than 10 years have passed. The world's population has decreased by only 30%. The apocalypse would surely come in a few hundred years, and on the romantic journey, Paul often massages Lance's broken leg. Gradually, the two of them have made a good impression on each other. Right after that, they arrived at the gathering place of the shrinking people, and here is going on a mysterious and great project. To avoid the apocalypse, the doctor led everyone here, dug a 1.6 kilometers long tunnel underground. The whole tunnel is made of very sturdy materials. In the cave, at the end of the tunnel, there are all the animals and plants. That is the underground world of humans. They will live underground for 8,000 years until the surface stabilizes. Tomorrow is the day everyone is going to move underground. During dinner, the doctor convinced everyone. Seeing that everyone was excited, Paul was also a bit excited. So, he wants Lan to join them, but Lan thinks even if that person becomes extinct, it will still be a few hundred years from now. It's unrelated to herself. Paul now is recalling his failed life. Thinking stubbornly is the only thing he can do. The next day, everyone said goodbye to the sun for the last time, and went into the cave. Paul also came in with his luggage. At this time, he has seen that the road ahead turns out to be uphill. The person next to him told him that this was to prevent the flood. This would take 11 hours to go down to the basement. Paul witnessed the crowd leave, and suddenly got lost. Can leaving the original world again really be life-changing? Finally, at the last minute, he changed his decision. Running out of the tunnel, Paul hugged Lan and said, "I'm sorry, maybe I was destined to be someone who can't do anything." Then Paul and Lan returned to the elves, started taking care of lonely elderly people who need help.